I open the lid to this box and I've got $28 million. Being at SEMA 2019, I met this guy called Jeff Allen, okay, and he was on the Pennzoil stage, big shaved hair, cool little beard, and he was responsible for building a lot of the Fast and the Furious cars in the Hobbs and Shaw movie. He also had like a Volvo Amazon, I believe, that was used in the film, which was quite cool. And we started getting chatting because on that stage, I entered into the Radical Rob build-off, drive-off for the NAS Charger. Built cars all around the world. We drove them across America to SEMA. And we unveiled who the winner was on the Pennzoil stage with Jeff Allen. And we've been in touch a little bit back and forth, and he knew that I'm a bit of a Fast and the Furious car lover. Whether it's a replica Mitsubishi Eclipse, or it's a Dodge Charger, or I'm making another NAS Charger, or a Lykan Hypersport, or whatever. I've even had the Oshkosh dune truck from Fast and the Furious, which was quite cool. So Jeff Allen says on one of his posts, check out these, right? And immediately I knew what they were. They were 3 of the original Hobbs and Shaw military grade Range Rovers, okay? So they've got LED lights along the bumpers, the headlights are completely deleted, and they've got LED style bull bars around the front, big machine gun turrets on the top, and straight away my heart sinks. I'm like, how much are they, right? And I'm at COVID's hit. The car sales that I've started is doing okay. I've got a little bit of money put in the bank. And I'm like, how much are they? It's like $20,000. I'm like, okay. Well, considering they're like '06 plate Range Rovers, they're not crazy value vehicles. But one of them was a supercharged one. It's kind of cool. Mileage was okay. But they weren't particularly brilliant vehicles to start with. One of them is smashed to bits. It's when the crane comes by and takes it out. One of them's a running and driving car, and one's a bit rough as well. So I've got 3 cars in total. When we started chatting, I managed to haggle him down a little bit because I kind of thought, well, these are really cool cars because I know that there was 10 built in England and there was some built in the US. The production of Hobbs and Shaw, majority of the filming was done in the United Kingdom because the UK has obviously allowed tax relief to happen to anyone that wants to film a film in the UK. You get tax relief, okay? So basically the way they look at it is local companies and other people will benefit from them filming in the United Kingdom and bring business to the UK. So these cars, in my opinion, were quite rare. They were US versions of the predominantly built UK version. So there was lots of these UK built Range Rovers, but not many US. So we agreed on a figure and I bought them, picked them straight up, sent them to my buddy Leon Eckery, who's got a big auto parts place and breakers yard in El Paso, Texas. I'm like, buddy, can you store these for me? I'll pay you whatever a month. He said, mate, you don't have to pay me anything, just throw them in the corner. And the problem with these stupid COVID buys, right, is I got money sat in a bank account that I can't spend because I got no dealerships open to buy stock. I can't sell any cars, so I can't get rid of my stock unless I'm selling them to nurses or pediatricians or people that are key workers that need cars. Legally, you're not allowed to sell otherwise. So I got like money sat in the bank, so I bought these Range Rovers. And initially I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. They're the Hobbs and Shaw cars. But really they're kind of B-roll cars. Yeah, they were like the bad guys cars, machine gun turrets on the roof, LED lights. They're really cool. If I bring them back to the UK, maybe they can go to a museum, that kind of thing. But there is this avenue of maybe someone taking the reins here and having fun with them because there's 3 of them. So you could make one wow car out of the 3, or you could put 2 in a museum, and you could even have, because there's a couple of scenes where 3 of the cars are going down the road and one gets hit by the crane. So you could even use them in a museum to reformulate a chain coming out the roof, a ball hitting it, and have the 3 cars going together as like a convoy, So there's so much scope for them. And it seems such a shame to let them go. You can't buy 10 iPhones for what I paid for these 3 cars. So that's the way I look at it, Even like a Ford Fusion nowadays, you can't buy a Range Rover. And I know Range Rovers have their problems. I mean, they got check engine lights. They got light faults on them because the lights have been modified. The engines have been modified to make them faster, to react quicker for the filming, that kind of stuff. These cars are problematic, like any Range Rover in the world. I come from England, where Range Rover themselves have more courtesy cars than they do have cars in their workshop because they just can't get the parts to fix their own cars that are built in England. Like, it's that bad. So for 3 Range Rovers that have been predominantly beaten to hell, used as movie props, destroyed, beaten up, and are now sat in the desert in El Paso, I I can assure you they're going to need some love. So let's just do a resume of my Fast and the Furious replicas and real cars, shall we say. So let's start off with the NAS Charger. Electric wheelie car from the movie. I had 3 Eclipses, 3 Mitsubishi Eclipses. I had an electric one. I had a Mitsubishi Evo powered one, which not a lot of people understand, okay? When you open the bonnet of a Mitsubishi Eclipse, the engine and the transmission is the wrong way round. Yeah? When you get a Mitsubishi Evo, the engine is the opposite way around. So someone had spent a lot of money and taken all the engine mounts off and welded it all in. So I had an Evo 8 powered turbo Mitsubishi Eclipse, but it was so rough. Like it had been in a garden for 10 years. And the person that built it, someone needs to string that man up and give him some lessons or a spanking, because he does not know how the propulsion of a car should work, okay? The drive shafts on a front-wheel drive car come out of the transmission like this, okay? And what he'd done is he had the inner part of a drive shaft of an Evo 8, and he had the outer part of a drive shaft of a Mitsubishi Eclipse. And he'd welded a piece of tube over the top, right? And as you drove the car, it went, and I thought the suspension was hanging out. When I got underneath, that he'd welded it in such a way that the drive shaft was like a bloomin' dog bone. It was ridiculous. The car had been done in such a poor way that there was no way that any amount of money you spent on that car would make it worth it. I've had not one, but 2 Lykan Hypersports, both from Fast and the Furious Live. I've had the Oshkosh Dune Truck, okay? Let's talk about the Oshkosh Dune Truck just for a moment. The Oshkosh Dune Truck was this amazing off-road 8-wheel drive dune truck, yeah? And it was designed by the guys in Fast and Furious to pull up next to the train, cut the side out, and steal cars from the train. So if any sane person was going to build an Oshkosh dune truck to replicate the one in the film, you'd use a Unimog, right? Off-road, right up in the air, tool chassis, maybe throw an LS3 in it to get a bit of power, and just add a couple of wheels, a couple of steering axles just to have a bit of fun. Well, they didn't, okay? What they did in this stage is they spent £220,000, $300,000, making the most over-the-top, complicated box of frogs you've ever seen in your life, okay? You had a chassis frame with a hydraulic recovery aluminium body that went up and completely removed itself. So basically, in the Fast and Furious Live, instead of having the Corvette on the train, they had the Lykan Hypersport on the train. And basically they had these sliders so they could get the Lykan, slide it off the train. The recovery body, which is £40,000 on its own, went off and laid on the floor. It drove off, then the body went back up and it drove back to its point. It was powered with a 500 horsepower LS3 with a hydraulic transmission, okay? So imagine being in a helicopter, yeah? And you've got your joystick, right? And that joystick obviously allows you to go left, right, forward and backwards. Well, to operate the throttle pedal on this dune truck, you had to put the controller of your Echelopter controller, like a game controller, forward, then press the throttle, yeah? And it would engage the hydraulic transmission to allow you to go forward, right? Then you had 4 buttons on the dash, which you pressed, and electronically controlled motors, which in turn turned 8 plastic BF Goodrich wheels on the outside, which also went up and down to replicate it going over mud, yeah? So here you've got automatic hydraulic transmission, which you can, once you're going forward, you press the brakes and they don't work because the hydraulic transmission is pushing you forward. Hydraulic propulsion, there's no way of just switching that off. You're already in motion. You go into neutral and it goes, and then it power kicks off. If you're going to crash into something, you've already crashed, right? Then to go backwards, you pull it backwards and it goes and goes backwards. But you're still at 3,000 RPM. There is no way of controlling that thing. It's horrendous. Then you've got hydraulic steering, yeah? So you've got a steering wheel that's mounted to a hydraulic pump with 2 pipes that go down to 2001 Jeep Cherokee front and rear axles, right? So you've got a 2-ton Jeep with 4 ton on top of it at least, with an aluminium body and now a Dune and now a Lykan Hypersport on it, right? Body kit car. And what they found is you turn the steering on the truck, you wait, and then you look down, and then your wheels start turning because the hydraulic power isn't instant. It is going through some fancy system that then turns the original Jeep Cherokee steering, and it turns just 2 wheels. So although it looks like it's an 8-wheel drive massive dune truck, It's just these tiny little Jeep Cherokee axles towing this whole vehicle. And it sounds amazing. You've got this V8 roar of an LS3, open headers, all is unbelievable. But there's no power to it. There's no fun. There's nothing you could do with that unless you completely binned everything off and kept the cab that was similar to the car and you kept the recovery body. It was completely useless. And what we found is every time we drove it, it would blow half shafts because it's designed to do like a 4 litre straight six engine. And it's pulling off like a 500 horsepower. And for a hydraulic transmission, it's just overpowered. It just snapped prop shafts, break them. It was ridiculous. I gave £3,000 for that, and I sold it for £7,000. You know, but the best bit about it, luckily enough, there was this big pallet on the back of it, and I turn up and I bought the safe from Fast and the Furious, but we'll get to in a minute. I bought the Dune truck, I bought the Eclipse, and I bought the Dodge Charger. So I bought quite a cool collection, and I'm like, what is that on the back of my truck? And he went, excuse me, mate, suggest you shut your mouth, because everyone here wants that box of on the back of your truck. And if you don't want it, I'm sure you can share it around. Well, therefore, I am quite literally a millionaire, all right? I open the lid to this box and I've got $28 million in Fast and the Furious $100 bills, right? And basically the Fast and the Furious safe, which I also purchased, which basically is a go-kart, electric powered, Tesla motors, Tesla batteries, inside a safe, which you can see, so it's translucent. So the outside looks like a big silver safe. From the inside, you can see out in a 360-degree way. So basically, the two Dodge Chargers would pull it along with a cable, but really it wasn't pulling it along because the guy in front was driving it, with another guy sat on the roof of the safe, throwing the Fast and the Furious heist money out the roof. So basically, after the Fast and Furious live show, you could go on the arena and pick up your Fast and the Furious money. Well, everyone was so upset because back when the show was out, if you had a couple of these dollars, you could put them on eBay and get £5 for 5 of them. Like, they're worth £1 a sheet. I've got like millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of these $100 bills, and I'm buzzing. I give them to people all around the world. Like, any opportunity I get, I've made thousands of pounds through selling them on eBay, but realistically, you know, there's only so many people that want fake Fast and the Furious money. So I've made some people very, very happy with this money. And you know, it's another one of those things, if you weren't there buying that crazy car at that time, you wouldn't have that opportunity. So what I've learned over the years, right? These movie cars are movie cars for a reason. You're sat at your sofa thousands of miles away from where this was filmed. And they look pretty good, right? You wait until you get up close and just see how bad they are. Tavarish's Lambo, it's pretty rough. I've had some of the most eclectic vehicles in the world. But you know what? You need to get off your ass and go check these cars out properly. Because I haven't done that yet, and I've got 3 Land Rovers sat in a shed in the middle of the desert in El Paso. I can imagine they're just as bad as I think they're going to be, if not worse.
We'd like to thank the Ticket Clinic for supporting VinWiki this month. When you get a ticket, no matter where it happens, you're risking points on your license, costly fines, insurance premium increases, and risks of suspension or jail time. So it's more important than ever to have great representation. The Ticket Clinic is a nationwide law firm that can help you fight a ticket no matter where you get it. It's easier than ever to start a relationship with them. You'll just take your ticket, snap a picture of it, and text that picture to 305-305. You can also reach them at the link in the description below to thank them for their support of VinWiki and fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.